Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win, like lots of sims popping it like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pinto, choose what I get to. Never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up if we want it, then maybe we just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me is never this.
That's right. We're back. We're
Holy
back.
shit.
I know it's been a long time, but we are here. We are back. This is Divots and Pivots. I'm Andrew LeDuc, aka Mr. Mallard. This is Bud Copeland. To my left, to my right, whichever way your screen happens to be mirrored, it don't matter to me. He's here with me because it's been a while since we've been together, but we're excited because this is the most chaotic, most exciting, just every 2 years, the best that golf can offer. It's Ryder Cup week, baby. I'm pumped. There's a lot to talk about. But let's get caught up a little bit because it has been a little bit since we've been on screen together. But how's your night going? How has your last few weeks been going? How have you been preparing for the Ryder Cup?
I got a new house, man. I haven't been doing shit, but working on the house for the last few weeks. It was good to see the Procure or whatever the hell Scotty won that tournament. He kind of came out there ho-hum saying, listen, I'm not going to talk about the Ryder Cup for 4 days. I'm here to win a golf tournament. And he won a golf tournament. And I think that's a good sign for us. I get ready for the Ryder Cup every couple of years, pretty much the same way all the time, just consuming it online, going back to, the greatest moments. I just asked Chat GPT for a list of the top 10 moments on U.S. soil and Ryder Cup history. We'll get to that later, but it's you said it, man. It's a fun week. There was some controversy around it in the late 90s into the 2000s when the game was exploding with money, thanks to Mr. Tiger Woods. And I would say, Jack pushing a lot of that. This whole baby boomer generation had their Tiger to kind of hang their hat on, and then we got ours, and the money just exploded from there. When it leaked into the Ryder Cup, there was a lot of people saying we should get paid for this, but they're making money off it. And it sounded similar to the NCAA argument for NIL, and the counter to that was y'all make pretty absurd money doing this the rest of the year. Can't you just, throw us a bone? We're going to, Ryder Cup USA or Golf USA, however that's funded through all the sponsors. They're going to pick up the tab on everything else. Can you just show up and kick ass and, donate a lot of your time?
It's the same with the NBA Olympics too, isn't it? Like, they don't get paid for that extra, right?
No, but you do get, I think it's 25 grand or whatever. You do get money if you win a gold medal.
Correct. Yes. Okay.
So in the last few years I'm glad you brought up the Olympics, because in the last few, I'd say decades, with the emergence of, God, we're getting old, with the emergence of the Olympics and these opportunities and the kind of idea that certain moments, certain opportunities are rare. We've known that the majors are always rare, but even some of these guys get so granular, saying not just a U.S. Open at Oakmont or a U.S. Open at Pebble or, an Open Championship at the Old Course. And so the Ryder Cup, and it's not even, you hear Rory, it's not even just about winning the Ryder Cup anymore. I want to win an away Ryder Cup, which doesn't happen that often. I can't remember the last time the Yanks have done it. When was the last time we pulled one off overseas?
I believe it's been 20-ish years since the road team has won. Hasn't it been? It's been something obscure, like something crazy, like not obscure, but it's been something crazy like that.
2012, I want to say, the Miracle at Medina.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Not 20 years. I'm thinking of 2012. Okay, 2012. That sounds right.
But yeah, fact check me on that. Miracle in Medina was 2012 Ryder Cup. Yeah, that was the last one. We were up, I think, 4 going into the final day, and then just absolutely shit the bed. And another great segue back to this year, where I think Captain Keegs was on that team. Keegan, because that's the famous Ryder Cup bag.
Yeah, that sounds right.
He said that when he got back, he just was not going to unpack that in 2012 Ryder Cup debut. Medina, Keegan was a key part of the U.S. that narrowly lost to Europe. And then he famously said, I'm not opening this bag again until I get an opportunity to play in a Ryder Cup. And then we all saw how that turned out. First question for you is, do you still think that Keegan made the right decision by not playing in this Ryder Cup?
I unfortunately do. As much as I wanted to see Keegan playing in this, just from a pure fandom, a pure New England golf fan, Keegan representing, like, as much as I wanted to see all of that and that all come to fruition, I think watching him the last couple of weeks really embrace his captainhood and embrace getting his team ready and everything he's done. I do feel like he's probably made the right decision because it's showing that he's been able to put his full focus into leading this team and not trying to split that focus between how he's going to play and how he's going to also rally these guys around each other. It's clear he's compartmentalized his feelings, and he's even recently come out in press conference saying that he does still sometimes thinking about what it would be like for him to be playing right now. Like he wishes he knew, but he's very clearly understood his role, and I think he's embraced that. So I respect that. And as much as I wanted to see him play, I still think this ended up being the right choice.
What would you have done?
I probably still would have played if I was him, because I think there is that competitive drive that I know he has that's probably so hard to shut off. It's so hard to say not being in that position though, because he understands the greater good too. Like from my standpoint, I feel like I'd want to compete, and I'm not saying he doesn't want to compete, but I think I would have played. But I think he obviously has the confidence in his guys, which from a captain standpoint, you want to see him have. You want to see him have that confidence in all 12 of his guys.
I would have played. I would have put myself on the team. I would have said, I've done enough in X, Y, and Z, and I'm in a unique position, and I think it'd be something. I would have put myself out there, and I'm not calling him out and saying he didn't. I think he's getting his flowers because of the graciousness of the position.
Sure.
I would have thought to myself how unique of a position I was in, and
you think it would come off as selfish though? Like part of me wonders if that
care
played.
Less.
Well, yeah, but part of me wonders if that played into his
what if you win?
Like
what if you win? Do you still come across as selfish? You decide to say
exactly. No, you don't. If you win, you don't come off as selfish at all. But part of me wonders,
I think that's worth the risk,
considering no one's been a playing captain since Arnold Palmer back in the early 70s. Like
I'm just saying, I know. I don't think I could have. I don't think I could have resisted temptation.
Yeah, to put yourself in that category, like in that
into everybody who would say that's selfish, or I'm not saying you, but I'm saying you're right. The criticism would come.
Yeah, just raising the question.
Even with a loss, the whole that's selfish, I'd have just kind of shrugged it off and been like, you know what? I'm one of how many human beings on earth who is faced with this decision. And I mean, you genuinely look at all of the captains throughout the last 25 years and who could have called themselves a playing captain. There's nobody out there. I mean, nobody was really informed. Tiger barely got it in 2019 with the President's Cup, and that was just kind of kismet. That was the stars aligning. I think Keegan would have been. I think everybody would have rallied around him. I think I think everything would have fallen into place the way it's supposed to be. Because here's the thing: what if they don't win? Then was it a smart decision, or did the number 7 player in the world, he's 7 or 8 in the world, number 10 in the Ryder Cup points? You see where I'm going with this.
So that's the thing. If they don't win it, if they don't
6-7,
I just don't even understand it.
I can drive by 6-7 on that ass.
But if they don't win, and it's because
I hope somebody wins 7 and 6, and then you just see all the boys doing this week.
So that's what I'm saying. If they don't win, and it's because someone like Scotty or Xander or Bryson fell flat and didn't carry their weight, then I don't think it matters. Like, it's not a conversation like, oh yeah, sure, Keegan would have been, because Keegan wouldn't have been taking one of their spots. That didn't matter. If they don't win because Ben Griffin or Colin Morikawa choke, and Cameron Young, one of them really absolutely go out there and just lay it flat and lose all their points, then it's a discussion. But it all depends on what happens here and the way they lose.
I think you shit the bet on that. I think you made the wrong call. So another question for you. Speaking of all right, this dovetails right into it. Something I've known about this, and this is one of those things that just comes up every couple of years. You forget about it until you start paying attention to the Golf Central live and then your social media feed gets inundated with everything.
Right.
And God bless these people who do it full time so that schmucks like you and me can try to entertain everybody else. The tradition of the envelope. Do you know what I'm talking about when I say the captain's envelope, or the envelope tradition for Ryder Cup captains?
I'm not sure I do. No.
It might ring your bell if I start explaining it to you. So on Sunday they play singles, and every year when they do the pairings, or maybe right then that day, the captain has to put a name in an envelope of somebody who would sit out in the event that somebody on the other team got hurt, got ill, whatever.
I follow now. I was thinking pre-tournament, not Sunday, but
I don't know when they put it. I don't know when they put the envelope in, and it's only been used a couple times. I want to say real quick, Ryder Cup envelope.
I would say if you're gonna put that in pre-tournament, that's wild.
And so let's see, who
Like,
is it?
if you're gonna put it in Saturday night, that I think that makes more sense because then you get a sense of how people are playing. But God, if you're gonna put that in pre-tournament, that's evil.
And so in 1991 and 1993, it was in play. In 91, European captain Bernard Longer used the rule. So here's what it is. Like, so we said it. Sorry, somebody has to sit out, then who on your team is going to go, which kind of sucks. You find out like, oh, thanks, Cap. Like, I'm the weakest link. Goodbye.
Right.
But it wasn't that way in the second time around. But the first time around, Bernard Longer, captain, used the rule after Steve Pate was declared unfit to play, resulting in David Guilford sitting out Steve Pate for the Americans. I want to say he was in a car crash like 2 weeks or like the week before the Ryder Cup, and it was one of those things like it was a miracle that he made it through the rounds.
So he didn't play. It's a situation where he didn't play all weekend, but the only time that mattered is on Sunday.
And he's just like I can't go on Sunday because here's the deal: if you invoke that rule, then it's a tie. It doesn't, there's no blood. As opposed to him knowing his body going, if I'm going to get 5 holes out there and I'm going to have to withdraw, that's a full point to the Euros.
Right, and if a Ryder Cup ever ended in a tie, that'd be catastrophic.
If the Ryder Cup ever ended in a tie, you say, real quick, 1993, the second time the envelope came into play, Sam Torrance was injured on the European side, and Lanny Watkins volunteered. Lanny Watkins was our stud. He was kind of a Bryson or a Brooksy, just hard-nosed, not going to fuck around, knows what he's doing. Raymond Floyd kind of was of that ilk too. Lanny Watkins volunteered, saying, like, put my name in the envelope just in case, because I've played every match, and hey, it actually turned out to need to happen. Sure. So you said if the Ryder Cup should end in a tie, what a calamity that would be. 1969, Birkdale, Royal Birkdale. Jack Nicklaus is sitting out there, and I'm trying to think of it was Tony Jacklin.
You're asking the wrong guy for.
I know. So it's 1969. Yes, Tony Jacklin. 1969 Royal Birkdale, the final pairing, and it all comes down to this: Jack Nicklaus, Tony Jacklin, and the legend goes they tee off on the 18th. If the USA wins the hole, they win the Ryder Cup. If they tie, the match ends in a tie, and then they retain the cup. So they both tee off, and the legend goes, Jack Nicklaus walks up to Tony and goes, "Are you nervous?" When they're walking up, and Tony's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Me too. If that's any consolation, great." They get up there, and Tony Jacklin, nestles his putt. He's got a putt basically to kind of put the pressure on Jack. He's got a birdie putt, rolls it up there. He's got a couple feet away, 2.5 feet, not quite a gimme. And so Jack's got a putt to win the Ryder Cup. And he basically he has a 15-footer, rams it 5 feet by, blows the putt. And at this point, he's thinking, fuck, I could blow this. Sinks his 5-footer. Now, he's in for par. His opponent's got a 2.5-footer for par. Slippery 2.5-footer, considering the entire weight of the European team is on your shoulders. Yeah. If the guy misses it, then USA wins. If he makes it, the USA still gets to keep the cup. They retain it, but it's a tie. Okay. So you see where I'm going with this. Jack Nicklaus makes his 5-footer and bends down, picks up Tony's mark, and says, I don't think you would have missed it, but I wasn't going to give you the chance. And that was known as the concession. They opened up concession golf club down in South Florida. So when you say if it ends in a tie, it's ended in a tie. Only a handful of times. But that was probably the most famous, the concession with Jack and Tony Jacklin.
And that all came back up with in the last one when Ricky Fowler conceded. I remember that people were starting to call that like the concession, even though it really wasn't the same situation.
No, yeah, it
wasn't. But people were throwing that out there, like that terminology again, and that nickname.
They were just talking about how that's a classy move, where you because in that case with Ricky a couple years ago, we were gasping for air. You know what I mean?
Of course we were. We were done.
This was much more of a consequential. All right. So for those who don't know, and I think we go through this every Ryder Cup as well, the format of the Ryder Cup the next few days. First of all, normally there's opening ceremonies on Thursday afternoon, and that is also where the first round pairings are announced. Well, they're going to get some weather in New York. We're going to get some weather in the Northeast the next few days. So they're doing the opening ceremonies tomorrow And I know what you're thinking. Sweet, we'll have an extra day to chew on those pairings. Fake news, because they're still going to announce the pairings on Thursday afternoon at like 4:00. They're going to do some sort of press conference like they do.
Because they can't give extra time than normal to prepare and strategize. Like they can't do that.
So they will play foursomes in the morning and then 4-ball in the afternoon, both on Friday and Saturday. For the layperson, foursomes is alternate shot. I don't know why they don't just fucking start calling it alternate shot, but you're gonna hear foursomes. And the only way to remember that too is in foursomes, there's 4 humans, and 4-ball, there's 4 balls in play. And 4-ball, we would call best ball. So alternate shot and best ball, not scramble. I hate when dingbats get that confused. Oh, I love to play best ball. No, it's
what happens with all those charity tournaments. They're always called best ball tournaments. Like, no, it's a scramble.
You get out there and and it's really a scramble because Patty in the events department doesn't ever play golf. And then on Sunday they play singles. There are 4 matches, which means there are 4 matches each session. Yes. And that means a couple of guys are going to sit out each time around, which is not, uncommon. Some guys are going to play all five sessions. Some guys will play, 1 or 2. Everybody's going to play on Sunday. And then famously, I think it was in the 1999 Miracle at Brookline, you had John Van de Velde, who had melted down in the Open Championship, didn't play at all until Sunday singles, one of the, those kind of key things that fueled the U.S. comeback. Back to you in the studio. But yeah, there's your format. Friday, Saturday, foursomes, 4-ball. We got it in, Bethpage Black is in New York State Park out there on Long Island. I think it's Farmingdale or Framingdale, whatever the fuck it is. Who gives a shit?
It's all one spot. I don't care about the towns on the island. It's all one space.
Traditionally known as one of the harder venues to play golf. It's hosted a handful of majors. I want to say it was the 0209 maybe U.S. Opens, 2019 PGA. It's had a couple of FedEx Cup playoff events there. It's not an uncommon venue, and it's another one of those one of those places these guys love. But here's the rub. I was listening to live from the Ryder Cup earlier today, and the European team was out there, and the scuttlebutt is this: bombs away. Apparently the rough is not nearly as long and penal as it normally is, which kind of shocks me. They've known this is coming for a little while now. But we also learned something recently, and I think it's because they're going to try to just cut it early in the day so that it's sticking straight up, and then hopefully the ball nestles down. But like Rory was saying, it is, if you can bomb it, the rough's not penal. So there's going to be a lot of just get it down there as far as you can and like flip wedges. And the greens are apparently not so much undulating. It's just they're hard to hit unless you are coming in with a short iron or from the fairway or a long way away.
So this is where the world of YouTube golf comes in play. We talk about it a lot, but all of what PGA is doing correctly now, but what we're also getting now is that a lot of these channels are now getting to play rounds and shoot videos the week before. The Ryder Cups, like Bob Does Sports just released their video playing Bethpage today. They just released it today. I don't know when they actually played it. It must have been over the weekend or earlier in the whatever. But they just played. But I will say it's funny that you say that because they hit a lot of balls in the rough off the tee. But at the same time, they were still getting out all right. Like for them to for that level of golf, obviously Fat Perez is, FP's a better player than Cold Cuts and Bob, but for them all to be able to get out of the rough all right and still kind of pick their shots, they were getting flyer lies every now and then. That's normal, but it wasn't like you said, it wasn't overly penalizing from what I saw. And these guys were playing on pretty much the Ryder Cup conditions for this coming week. Like it wasn't going to be that big of a difference.
I like it too, because this is not a week for the course to beat these guys up.
Correct. We want to see excitement.
We want to see birdie fests.
Yeah, because that's what makes match play. That is what makes it exciting. You want to see them going down. Like who can make the eagle to beat the birdie? Like who can barely sneak out the par to beat the boat? Like we want to see. We don't want to see one guy shooting a 3 and another guy getting an 8 and conceding after the. Like we don't want that. We want tight, close calls.
Listen, if somebody told me right now that Team USA could wrap this thing up Saturday afternoon so that Sunday was meaningless, I think it's mathematically possible. I think if they just sweep everything, we win.
Yeah, it could
14 and a half to win, 14 to retain. So the US needs 14 and a half. of the possible points. And for those keeping score at home, oh, excuse me, sorry about that. The Diet Dr. Pepper is kicking in. I want to say there's thank you. 28 points. Is that what we're working with? 28 points. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because here it is. New York Bethpage Black, 28 points, 3 days, 50,000 loud fans. I don't know where that came from. There's going to be way more than 50,000 people who come through there in the next few days.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they would have to sweep every match, basically.
Which isn't going to happen. It's
No,
not
it's
going to
not.
happen.
So we're going to get something into Sunday like normal. Traditionally, a 4 or more point lead, even a 3 or more point lead, is traditionally kind of safe going into Sunday. When you've got only 12 guys, you don't have a huge margin of error. We haven't seen true clock cleanings on the single side in quite some time. And not to mention some of these scores end up getting lopsided towards the end, because once you hit 14 or 14 and a half, I don't know how much those guys, I know they say like, hey, I always want to compete. I always want to win. I don't know. Once, it's almost like when there's no paycheck assigned to it, how motivated are you really? I guess they are.
See, I do think they all are quite motivated. Like, I'm not questioning motivation at all when it comes to this.
No, I'm not either. I'm talking about once it's over. Once
it's over.
Yeah,
Okay,
if you're
okay,
Sunday,
gotcha.
if you're sitting out there Sunday and you're, the fourth to last match, but you just heard the huge roar and you look up,
I
and
see. Yeah, I got
they've just secured it. Like, who gives a shit? It's gone.
Right.
That's another one where, like,
point, it's over. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's hard. What pairing in the foursomes is going to be something that intrigues you the most? We know, and I'm going to take Cantlay and Xander off the board,
right? Because
a lock. They're a lock. They're going to play. I swear to God, if they're not playing 4 sessions straight, unless they voluntarily say like, Cap, we need to take a rest.
Right.
Then I don't know what we're doing here. But what potential pairing intrigues you the most? And who do you want hitting the opening tee shot for Team USA?
So here's the thing. When it comes to pairings, we got a potential look in when it came to the practice rounds on Monday.
Right.
Now, obviously, they've probably played practice rounds today and tomorrow. These could change. But what I did find interesting was in the first group of practice groups, we had Bryson, Ben Griffin, JT, and Cameron Young. And when it comes to the other ones, like you said, Cantlay and Schauffele going together, Burns and Morikawa, all 4 of those guys were in the third group of practice rounds. I can see Cantlay and Xander, they're going to be locked in. I can see Burns and Morikawa being partner too, so that doesn't surprise me. The first group, though, with Bryson, Griffin, JT, and Cameron Young, I'm curious to see what Keegan's going to do there when it comes to squeezing in Cameron Young and Ben Griffin. Is he going to put the two first timers together in Griffin and Young, or is he gonna mix them in with Bryson and JT? Because let's be honest, JT and Bryson could be a killer pairing in pretty much any format. But there's that potential where if he mixes in, Ben Griffin and Bryson, do they just complement each other in a way that they are also pretty dominant? Like, I'm curious to see how he works in those guys, because I think there's potential both ways. Like, it's I don't know the right answer there. But that's what excites me is seeing.
I'll tell you the right answer.
But I'll tell you who I want.
Yeah, let's hear your second answer
opening tee
first.
time. So the opening tee shot for the US, I want Bryson hitting it, because I think out of all the guys who's gonna hype the crowd up right away, right off the bat, who's gonna crush the ball down that first fairway, who's going to really bring that energy, it's Bryson. I mean, that's gonna immediately get that noise right in the Europeans' ears. I want Bryson taking the opening tee shot for Team USA.
So the Tuesday pairings for their practice round, the Tuesday foursomes and even pairings for the practice rounds were pretty revealing, because some of those groups pretty much remain the same. They just shuffled them around.
I didn't see the ones from today yet, so
that's fine. That's why I didn't see the ones from Monday. So that's why I was curious to hear them compared to one another. You got Scotty and Russell Henley, who paired up in the President's Cup and did pretty well. Harris English and Colin Morikawa, which I like that. I love that, because neither one of them are flashy. And if they're on, then it's just going to be like, oh God, these guys are beating us.
Yeah, they can kind of be those silent assassins,
That's exact. They're not going to be a lot of fist pumping and come on.
Right.
They're going to leave that for Cameron Young and Ben Griffin, which I would love to see the two of them together. because also
Yeah.
you're either going to sink or swim, because then that left Bryson, DeChambeau, and Justin Thomas. And I do think that Bryson and JT would make a phenomenal, pairing. I'm just like, when it comes to foursomes,
Mm-hmm.
I guess if the rough's not going to be that bad, then that's great. Bryson, because JT is phenomenal with the wedge, and these guys are good enough to hoist the ball high in the air. They can do yada, yada, yada. So as long as they have a wedge in their hand, they're going to be fine. And
Get
then you
it
got
down
Patrick
there with
Cantlay,
Bryson
Xander,
and let Justin clean it up. Like, that makes sense.
JJ Spawn, and Sam Burns. JJ Spawn's gonna be another interesting one, man. I mean, he's late in his career. What if he comes out and this is his venue and he just kills it? And then maybe we got him for another Ryder Cup or two. But
what is his? I'm curious to see what his history.
I gotta
is
tell you, I'm a little worried.
I'm glad you said that, because I'm also a little worried. And what I'm worried about is, and this didn't really hit me. I thought the experience level was pretty even across the board between the two teams until I really broke it down to Ryder Cup history and matches and record and points scored and all that. So out of, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out of 8 guys in this Ryder Cup between both teams that have played double-digit matches in Ryder Cup history, 6 of those 8 are on the European squad. 3 of them lead out of everyone in points, and McIlroy, Rose, and Fleetwood. McIlroy's got 18 points, Justin Rose 15.5, Fleetwood has 8. So like, it's a big drop off even from McIlroy to Roy, from Rose, McIlroy to Fleetwood. Like, it's a big drop off. So we're really leaning on guys like Thomas and Koepka, who have the most experience for Team USA, to turn. If
only
it around.
Koepka was with us, the guy won a fucking major here.
So I know. That's right. I included Koepka in this shit. What was I doing? He's not even in it. Shame on me. Jesus Christ.
I think, I mean, honestly, the question comes then, obviously Keegan wasn't going to be on there. Who do you leave off to bring in Brooksy? I might have left off Sam Burns.
So here's the thing. Sam Burns he's at the bottom of the list. He only has 3 matches. Right. He only has 3 matches under him at Ryder Cup history, but he, like you just said, he's in great form to end the season. He went 1-2-0 in his 3 matches previously at Ryder Cup, so only 1 point to his name. I'll tell you what, though, like, he's right there. Him and Harris English both have the same history at the Ryder Cup. Bryson only has 6 matches under. I honestly thought Bryson had more, but I guess it makes sense. But he only has 6 matches under his belt. He went 2-3-1 in his career.
Yeah, because he missed. Yeah, because he was left off the last.
Correct. Game. Yeah, correct. But I'll tell you what, though, the weak point here could be, and this could be the difference maker, would be for Team Europe if Matthew Fitzpatrick can stay in form, and because right now he has 8 matches under his belt in Ryder Cup history. His record. 1-7-0 with only 1 point to his name.
I don't care. Matty Fitzpatrick is kind of a bitch. I don't. His record aside, right. His little. I don't know, man. I like that he was pissed off and was like, "Fuck those live guys. They can't come back."
Right. That was like a new side of him. I enjoyed seeing.
Kind of like that.
But then it went away. Then he went away with it.
There's nothing. In this arena, I think there's something weird. There's something kind of like about Ryder Cup presence. Yes. And I don't know, man. I don't see it. I know, but the hardos would be like, well, the game is the presence, man. When he's out there, it's Matt Fitzpatrick. Like, does Matt Fitzpatrick? I get it. He won 2 massive golf tournaments at one of the coolest places in the world, the Country Club, in Brookline.
Right.
But I mean, I want to think like in the American equivalent of like Gary Woodland. He's like Gary Woodland. He's good. He's excellent. Premier golfer. Elite. Major winner. Doesn't really make my socks roll up and down.
Right.
No disrespect. Actually, they just opened up the Gary Woodland Golf Center at the University of Kansas. Rock Chalk Jayhawk. So yeah, fuck Matt Fitzpatrick for this week and this week only. I'm a big Fitzy fan.
So here's what
hold on real quick. He chips cross-handed, right?
Right. Yes, I know. I do know that. Yes, which is why, because I've tried it and it feels so strange and foreign. It's strange.
Brits.
It's strange. But here's what I would like to do in real fast first.
Please.
Daniel Barry, you're always popping in the chat here. Thanks for coming by again. Hello, happy to see you again. Hope you're catching some Ryder Cup action this week. Here's what I'd like to do though, because I'd like to do a kind of a 1-for-1 comparison between the teams who has the player edge, the captain edge, and the vice captain edge. Because I think this is where you mentioned it. You're nervous. I'm also nervous. So I think this is going to be an extremely close Ryder Cup. And I think it's going to come down to the small edges that each team might have against each other. So I'd like to know who you think has the player edge, who has the captain edge, and who has the vice captain edge. Let's start with the captain, because I personally think that U.S. has the captain edge with Keegan Bradley over Luke Donald. Luke Donald has the experience of being a captain before, but I think there's so much when it comes to being a captain over a player where passion for what you're doing is going to speak so loudly. And I don't think anybody embodies being the U.S. Ryder Cup captain more than Keegan Bradley. And I think that's going to give him this edge. I don't know if you saw what he did to kind of rally the troops. I think it was yesterday or this morning before anybody, before they went out for their practice times. It was just Team USA in the tee box, nobody else watching. He had firefighters from New York come out. One of the guys, firefighter, his father had died in 9/11. He gave a speech to the team. I guess it was emotional. He had another firefighter sing the national anthem. He's doing anything he can do to get these guys patriotic and riled up, and I love that. I think he knows what he's doing. So I give the edge captain-wise to Keegan Bradley. Do you feel the same, or do you think experience is going to lead out when it comes to Luke Donald? Because let's be honest, Luke Donald last Ryder Cup did everything right for Team Europe.
And their team room setup is pretty dope. Representing Team Europe in 2004, winner 2006, winner 2010, winner 2012, winner 2023 non-playing captain, winner 2025 captain, winner.
He's a winner.
The captain advantage goes to Team Europe. No matter how much we can hype ourselves up, what we're talking about is Alabama of the mid 2010s. We genuinely are. The whole roster's coming back this year. They swapped out a Højgaard, which somebody pointed out they're identical twins. So I guess you could say the makeup of the team is genetically identical to what it was 2 years ago.
It kind of is, yeah.
And I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's this thing about international play that they've had our number since the days of Sevi, and they just seem to have this idea. And whatever people want to say, Americans are too self-centered, they don't dig the team thing. I don't know if I buy all that. And did you see, and I don't know if we talked about it here, Patrick Cantlay, God love him, but he gives us plenty to make fun of him about. However, he did have a good point in one of his interviews leading up to the Ryder Cup. He talked about reading some gin books, like Gin Rummy, the card game. And I love what he said. Somebody's like, what do you the Europeans have pretty much got your number for the last 25 years. Like, what do you think about that? And he was breaking it down how in the game of gin, if you have a 1 or 2% difference in skill level in players, then over a long period of time, it's going to guarantee a win for that better player just because they're that much better. He goes, but if two players play 10 games, 10 hands,
right,
then there's like a 60-40 chance that it's not going to, the odds are completely shifted. And his point was that when you're talking about players of this caliber and you get them together, but the snapshot, 28 points, what do we got? 16 matches or 30 whatever the fuck it is, 28 matches out there over 3 days, and 24 guys, 12 play. It's such a small snapshot that we're basically talking about flipping a coin every 2 years. So you and I can sit here and say that's why this time around, when the main variables are that you've got the exact same team, both by dint of earning it, and then the captain's picks were pretty obvious. I just think that unless we need Scotty Scheffler to show up.
It's what I said weeks and weeks ago. He's got to be the difference maker.
Well, and that's where I think that my answer to the question is I want Scotty hitting the opening tee shot, because I want this. First of all, I want Scotty and Bryson to play a 4-ball match.
That'd be awesome.
just bombs away,
but also
birdies
is
away.
that like see that's where it's like the strategy comes in. Is that just a waste where like that's just going to be absolute dominance?
No, if I'm
and
gonna
we
go,
can
Scotty and
spread them out
foursomes, if I'm going with Scotty and foursomes, I still want Scotty as the leader and everything, teeing off the very first business, and get him out there. People forget he was in tears. He was literally in tears Saturday afternoon of the Ryder Cup because he had just got his ass handed to him. And he said since he's
2-2-3
like,
record is not great so far in his Ryder Cup experience. He's got to turn that around.
he's got a gold medal, and he's got. I think we're going to
Sure.
see. I think we're going to see a 4-0-1 or like a 3-1-1 week from
But that's
Scotty.
we need that though.
But I want him to go out first to shake the kind of cobwebs and set the pace. Bryson is, whether he goes off first, 15th, whatever, Bryson's going to be Bryson. The energy's going to be there. He's going to get the.
Sure.
I don't think. I think I kind of want the leader, the world number one. Send your best. Lead us out there. Go get a point early. And then I say, man, maybe even you hold off. I'd say like Bryson, listen, here's what we're going to do. I want you in the cart, in the crowd the whole morning. Like I want you I want you out there like for the first 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And then, I need you to go disappear and, get ready for your afternoon four ball match. Like, cause also foursomes is kind of a feel game. It's kind of you have to have, this is where I miss Jordan Spieth. And this is where I think like Justin Thomas or Scotty, guys who are just kind of real feel chip shot kind of, feel creative players, versus Bryson, who's much more mechanical. Put Bryson out there in the crowd, like send him with like a beer cannon out there doing shit like that. Right. Because I do think that the biggest home field advantage we're going to have is going to be that crowd. You look back in 21 at Whistling Straits, and they, granted there were no Europeans allowed. I mean, the Europeans that were there because they were all in the United States to begin with. It was COVID, but that's the kind of differential we're going to need. Whoever does schlep on over to New York City or to New York from overseas, we're going to need that volume and intensity to drown it out because we are playing from behind. We on paper once again I think might have the stronger team just by numbers or maybe resume, but they're. I mean, it's John Rahm and Roy McIlroy and Victor Hovland and Tommy Fleetwood. It's the same shit, different day. It's Alabama, 2010, 2011, 2012. Okay, another 5-star running back, and then everybody else the same. Line it up.
So before we get too into the actual team comparison here, because that's part of my question. I want to get there. You mentioned the crowd, and I want to know. I have one simple question to ask you here, and I'm not even sure if you heard this, but I know I saw it and I heard it. Soft or smart is my question. Team Europe getting ready for the crowds at Bethpage Black with VR headsets to prepare for the heckling. Soft or smart?
Smart.
Because I think it sounds so fucking lame. I get it, but I think it's a bad look. Like, oh, we need to get ready for the crowds by using VR headsets and getting heckled electronically. That seems so maybe that's just my old school sports fandom in it, but that sounds so lame and soft. Like I have zero respect for that. And honestly, if I'm out there as a fan, as a US fan on Bethpage Black, I'm fucking making fun of them for it. I'm wearing fake VR headsets. Oh, do you see me now?
I didn't say. Yeah. I agree with you. I think that like you're giving us ammunition.
Yeah, that's why I think it's soft, because if anything you're doing that's giving us ammunition, that means you're reading way too into it. You were already in your head. Like I think you've lost right there.
No, you're just trying to simulate because if it wasn't the VR headsets, then we would be going in on you on your clothes or your personal life, like the waste management crew does on the 16th hole. But I saw this and I was like, I was super intrigued. Because if I could tell Chat GPT to, go fuck around with Siri and then come back and roast me for 5 hours, I'm gonna play a round of golf, and I need you to roast me for 5 hours. And they can go find, these are public figures. Go find everything everybody's saying on the internet about me and just use that as ammunition. That's what I want to hear, because then it's not that I care. It's just that I want that to be part of the cadence of the week. And it's like live golfers saying the music didn't take long to get used to, because then you're just used to it. It's part of the, you can get to a rhythm of it.
3 tournaments in, you probably don't even notice it anymore. Yeah.
So yeah, I would want to know, like, do your worst. What are you going to do? Go dig up the dirt on me and Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I think just deal with it. Every other sport, every other athlete, professional athlete deals with being
I say, why
heckled.
not though?
Like,
because you might get made fun of from the fans who
I
you're
just think there's
ignoring anyway.
I just think there's more important things for them to be focusing on than the fan. Like, I just think you're focusing on the fans. All you're doing is giving the fans power. And in my mind, no matter what AI or whatever they're using to simulate the heckling comes up with, from what I've learned, sports fans, especially New York sports fans, you have no clue what they're gonna say. There's no simulating it.
But we're also talking about guys who've never played in these conditions before. They're not used to being heckled. They're not used to being attacked. They're not used to even being addressed. Unless you are Rory, John Rahm, Scotty, or Bryson,
right?
Who else is really getting? Tommy Fleetwood gets nothing but love. Victor Hovland, everybody just goes, "Are you high?" Like there's Benny Shades, JJ, all of these other guys. Nobody gets hate or even attention the way that those big four names do. And so I think that if I'm Russell Henley and I'm used to just, flying under the radar, looking like an accountant and then, stealing a win every couple of years, all of a sudden now I have to be, I have to hear like, a British accent taking digs at me. They found out where my wife went to high school and who her boyfriend was and what he's up to. Like,
right. That's the shit that you can expect for sure.
Yeah. And I'm here for it because the Ryder Cup, while the players care about it, why do the players care about it? Because it represents something more than them. Do you know how many team competitions go on every fucking day? I mean, there's tri-state matches here in New England. There's this, there's that. But why do we care about the Ryder Cup? Because these are the best of the best. So as long as it means something to us, which as long as they allow us to let it mean something, then I think it's great. And I think that what Keegan and everybody's been saying, which is like, rowdy but respectful. And I think that's easier said than done, but especially in today's climate, go out and have fun, but just don't be a dick. You know what I mean? Like if you are going to be personal, I say go after haircuts. Go after, I want to see somebody holding a billboard up of John Rahm, where kind of like Patrick Reed in the choker. I've seen some old photos of John Rahm that deserve some mocking. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want there to be hate. I want there to be hugging. And I think that's what we're going to get. I do think we're going to get that out of this Ryder Cup.
Yes, and I do agree. I still think it's soft, but we'll agree to disagree. Whatever.
You think the VR goggles are soft,
yes,
and I just think they're smart.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I think preparing for the heckling is one thing. I think going to the step of VR goggles is like that's just where it gets soft. I think. But
speaking of heckling, I do want to just say it one more time because I predicted it weeks ago. I want to say it was on Basic Bogeys maybe or One Night in Pinehurst, whatever. Yeah. Wasn't on this show. We've been on a hiatus, and that's neither here nor there. Congratulations on your wedding, by the way. I did say a few weeks ago, my prediction for this Ryder Cup was that, and I think I might have texted you this, we are going to get one of the, and I think Tiger's going to kind of roll his eyes at it, but that's fine. This is the new generation. This is the way it is. We're in the days of swapping jerseys and collabing on business ventures and, sharing private jets from A to B. It's a new age for professional sports. And I think we're going to see these professionals try to play their ass off. I think we're going to see some chirping between the boys because now that we've got the TGL league that lets it,
I think they're a little more used to it.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit, and I want that. We revisited the Rory Patrick Reed match from years ago where Rory, Patty got him one up, but early on they're trading blows and going, I can't hear you. And they're pumping up the crowd and waving fingers. And Rory said it. He goes, we were coming off one of the greens, or Patrick said it. He goes, Rory, after we had just gone back and forth, shushing each other, they gave each other dap, patted each other on the back and walked to the next tee. These guys were just going at it. And I think that if we can get back there, especially in this sporting event, again, these sporting events, while they are fun, they are also an opportunity for these guys, whether they like it or not. It comes with the millions of dollars to set an example, not just for the game, but for everybody. This is bigger than just golf. There's going to be, this is New York City, and it's one of the biggest sporting events in the world. So I do think that we're going to see, in light of the live bullshit finally going away, because when's the last time you heard about that? No one talks about it. And then we had the Happy Gilmore, reunion. I think this is our first opportunity just to see the golf world kind of get back to the old days of the war on the shore, and where the only heated exchanges were amongst the players and they were allowed to, and the fans stood their ass on the side and clapped, or just was quiet. So chirp away, New York, do your New York thing. But at the end of the day, let's just remember it's a fucking game, people.
Yeah, I'm excited for all of that. All right, let's get into the who has the edge when it comes to the vice captain team that the respectable captains will put together. Because here's what Keegan's put together for vice captains: Jim Furyk, Kevin Kisner, Webb Simpson, Brant Snedeker, and Gary Woodland. When it comes to Team Europe, Luke Donald has Eduardo Molinari, Thomas Bjorn, Jose Marazabal, Francisco Molinari,
Jose Maria Olazabal.
I know. I said it wrong. I was trying.
No, you didn't. I'm mad that Olazabal has been the way the Brits have been saying it, and all Americans have been saying Olazabal all these years.
Right. We're trying to make it sound fancier than it is.
Bjorn Olazabal.
Right. And then they also got Alex Noren in there as a vice captain as well. So my initial thoughts when just on the surface, quickly reading these names, looking at them and whatnot, I feel like the U.S. vice captains as much more of a kind of balance between experience and vibe and relevancy. Like those three categories are kind of balanced out. Like obviously Jim Furyk, Kevin Kisner are your experienced guys. Gary Woodland is kind of your vibe guy who's got like the story. He's got like the rally point where everybody loves Gary Woodland. You know what I mean? So it's like this guy that anybody feels comfortable to talk to. And then Webb Simpson and Brant Snedeker are kind of those they're in between experience and whatever else I said, I forget already. So like I feel like there's a balance that was purposely put together there. When it comes to the European team, and this makes sense, I guess, for like the European golf culture, like it seems to be very heavy on experience and like be like obviously between Molinari and Maria Olazabal and beyond, like these are legendary golfers. They're older golfers. Like they're guys who have been here and done this before. They're guys who have been around as vice captains before. Like your Team Europe is really heavily sitting on, and like you've already mentioned with their team, like pretty much the same exact team. They're rolling into this with, we're going to beat them with experience and confidence. And it feels like US is more constructed on we're going to put together a team that is cohesive and is going to try to mesh together and kind of come at this with an attitude and a level of excitement, which I think the vice captains reflect that. So which group of vice captains, and it may not even matter. Do you think the vice captains even have that big of a role? I think they do. And I think you, with your head nodding, I agree with you. Who do you give the edge to?
Everything from, and there's some great stories. Johnson Wagner on the Golf's channel talks about it, but everything from just running snacks out to the guys to knowing who to send to say to what, to this, to that, to how to deliver it.
I feel like that's the biggest thing is that right there, what you just said, how to talk to the guys.
I think your assessment is spot on, that we have a little more balanced take because we have a different mission. We're building, like we are
right.
Rome was kind of rock bottom for US rock, the new rock bottom. I mean, we've been here before, but it was just kind of new, like shit, what happened? 2021, we whipped that ass, then we fly overseas and so, we have Jim Furyk in there, who's our steady, statesman. Freddie Couples is the name that kind of rolled off. You're like, oh, Freddie. And he'll admit it's time. It's time for the other guys. Tiger is going to be that name pretty soon. But you got Freddie up there. The rest of these guys, too, Kiz, Webb Simpson, Brant Snedeker, Gary Woodland. Sneds is another one of those steady statesman kind of type. The rest of those guys are vibe guys. And I think they're gonna do a lot, especially Kisner in that crowd. Don't discount the home crowd. And
Kisner's gotten used to it with his broadcasting experience now, where he's now kind of used to the talking aspect.
He ain't scared of a microphone. Exactly. And you're right. The European team, Mr. Molinari is the one who, his brother is the player. This guy is the statistician, who was a player as well, still is a pro player. But he's the one who really revolutionized the European Ryder Cup through his statistics and data analysis, etc. And you're right; it's steady as she goes. You got Thomas Bjorn, who's a former captain. You got Jose Maria Olazabal, who's he's the guy who's just going to be on every fucking team.
As long as he's capable, he's
savvy, and I mean he's representative of just that. I gotta say, we don't really have that guy in the
We
moment
don't.
who is
No.
bigger. You know, Jim Furyk's not necessarily that guy. We don't because I guess he wasn't big enough and flashy enough and splashy enough.
Right.
The Spaniards are just so fiery, and they had their moment in the sun. So we'll see who emerges. But the vice captains kind of balance, I think, in this Ryder Cup belongs to us because
Mm-hmm.
when when you're trying to defend, you can't defend on the road. And I think that we'll see what they come out with, but you can't defend on the road. You got to go. And I think that's why Rory's been saying nothing better than a road win. Nothing better than a road win.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
all they
like
need
he's
is a tie,
been
but
since
you gotta remind yourself
2012.
that that's how this thing goes back and forth. Is that
Mhm.
the energy is real, the familiarity is real. It worries me when I see that the Team Europe has been on this kind of boys trip for the last 2 weeks up and down Long Island. I think that
Right. Which is what they did in Rome.
I think that every snooty golf club on Long Island and should have gotten together and said, if anybody from Team Europe tries to come in these 3 weeks, tell them no. Like do
Yeah,
it,
we're full,
do it for the
sorry.
country. Yeah. Unfortunately, the golf world doesn't work like that. The
No,
logo
no.
is bigger than the flag sometimes.
Right.
But I like that question. I think the vice captains is an underrated part of the Ryder Cup experience. Johnson Wagner, real quick, that funny story on Golf Central. He was saying it was back in the day. Quail Hollow was going to be hosting a President's Cup. I think it was President's Cup. Yeah, Quail Hollow was going to be hosting a President's Cup, and Davis Love III was going to be. It was the captain. He said they were out there, and he was talking, saying, Davis, that I'm a member at Quail. I would do anything. I'll do anything to be part of the team. What can I do? This, that, and the other. And I think he was trying to kind of put it in his ears, like, how do I get to be on your radar for a captain's pick, right?
Right.
And he says that apparently he took some time, thought about it, and then got back to him later to say, like, I've been thinking about that. And we always need people to run snacks out to the guys.
Sure.
And that's when he said reality hit him that, like, I'm not getting picked for this team. But I say that lightly.
This is a whole team thing. It's not just the players. It's a whole team.
Yeah. And so the vice captain's going to the USA, and then we get to the players, which I'm going to go ahead and just lead off with this. The advantage goes to Team Europe.
I agree too. For everything I've already said, it's the
Alabama. Well, it's back to the Alabama analogy. It's like, wait a minute, they're returning 11 starters on defense and 10 starters on offense.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Clemson looks really good this year. Ooh,
see, and that is going to come really into play if this is close on Sunday for singles. That's where this is really going to get the matchup.
I think if it's close on Sunday, we got a shot.
It all depends on how they're matched up. I think that's where it's like, does the pressure of it being close on Sunday for singles get to your first?
I agree.
Time?
We got to be within striking distance, and then we have to have favorable draw. We can't,
Yeah, it all depends on the draws at that point.
We can't have mismatches so early that we're going to be seeding for the first 7 points just because, we got JJ Spawn going out there against John Rahm first off, which no disrespect to JJ, but that's a whole different beast. Traditionally, we've been better at singles. The USA game translates our match play. And I think that's also because in Europe, they just grow up playing different types of golf that is much more creative. Our Parkland style golf is fit for what I would say is kind of country club style, which is all you got to do is stand here in perfect conditions and practice hitting this one type of shot versus the ground and pound style of links golf and European golf. And it makes you just kind of be more imaginative and creative. I don't know where I was going with that, other than, like I said, I think
it sounded great.
They have the advantage when it comes to the team aspects.
So I do think I agree with that. I do think that as well. So we're pretty even across the board. Where I think this is going to be close. Now I do want to know when it comes to if it is close, say it's even tied going into Sunday for singles.
Yeah.
Would you prefer to see US come out straight with their heavy hitters or save more of the heavy hitters for the anchor? Like, your typical relay race, like, how would you prefer to see that laid out? Like, what would you feel more comfortable with? Because I honestly am not sure because, in your standard, if I'm comparing it to like in like a relay race, like kind of how singles is going to come down to, like, you want a strong start and a strong finish. But at the same time, you got to kind of figure out in there, like, where are the points where we could start to lose hope? And you got to be able to counter that.
If you go out heavy first, because the players have talked about over the years the magic of seeing that red on the leaderboard when they look up and they just see red flags. For those of you who don't know, red America, blue Europe. That's how they do it on the flags. And so when they say you got to have a lot of red up there. You want to see a lot of red up there all day. That shit's real. Again, it's like back to that home. So I think you send Scotty out, you send Bryson out, you send JT out, you send Russell Henley out, you send your quiet assassins out there to say, boys, go pick them off early so that we can either shut this door early or, we're actually still in the game late. If you send, you send Cam Young, JJ, Ben, you just send those guys out 1, 2, 3, and let's just say the lights are too bright, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 3 early points, not just flags up there, like 3 early points. You got like a 5 and 6 and 5, 7 and 6, 6 and then like maybe like another like 9 and 8 or some shit. That's a death knell for the Sunday singles. You put them out early. You want to go get those early points because whether you're ahead or behind, it's all going to come down to the last 5 matches.
Right.
But you have to be in the match for those.
You're still going to be in it. Yeah. See, and I think you nailed it because I think the guys that I want to be on the back end that I have faith in is I want Cantlay, I want Xander, I want those guys. Those are the guys that are the cool, calm, scary, the scary, calm guys, because they're the ones who can shut out whatever's going on, stick to business, and be like, all right, we're locking in right now. And we're
it's the guys that you're like, you better bury us early because we're going to have 4 guys coming down at the end, or really 3. And I say that's where I love it. You build the confidence so that JJ Spawn is sitting there knowing that he's got some backup behind him, but the confidence of like, I'm the fucking US Open champ. I can take this. Exactly. Yeah. Benny Shades being like, I was slinging loans 2 years ago. Now I've got a couple of wins. I mean, you got to put those guys in comfortable positions. And for Scotty Scheffler, first tee, major championship scenario, that's a comfortable position.
Yeah, and no disrespect for these guys, but I want Griffin and Young and Burns. I want them in the middle. I want them to just try to steady the ship because I don't.
Oh, go get a point. Just go get a point.
Exactly, or just keep it even. Like I don't want you losing a point. Like that's the whole key there. In the middle there, I want them to just stay steady.
That's actually not a bad philosophy because again, the Ryder Cup history shows this last day is going to be within 3-4 points.
I think so. So close.
That those points you're going to come from those outsides.
Exactly.
But where your studs are, because we're so smart about this. Real quick, new hat. What do you think? It's the Lone Pine. What is this called?
So I saw the star. It's almost like reminiscent of like a South Carolina hat, but it's not because it's a pine tree in the middle.
Right. This is the pine tree flag, which is the pine tree flag was one of the flags used during the American Revolution, featured the pine tree with the motto, an appeal to heaven, or less frequently, an appeal to God, was used by a squadron of 6 schooners commissioned under George Washington's authority as commander-in-chief of the Continental Army in 1775, traditional symbol of New England. And then here in Maine specifically, this is what I'm wearing is kind of gaining a little bit of momentum. Yeah, this is the former flag. This was the flag of Maine, 1901 to 1909. This was, and now it's kind of making a comeback because the current flag of Maine is just a blue background with like the state seal in the middle. Looks like about 7 other states.
It's kind of like the Massachusetts flag. It's so lame. It's just.
But since I am a Mainer and I'm wearing the Acorn Hills, shout out Nate and Acorn Hills TBFY 15 for 15% off. I saw that. I saw you wearing that OG throwback quarter zip. But this is the Betsy. The Betsy right here. That's how you know it's a Nate original.
Right.
The Betsy flying the flag, and then what state do I live in now? Maine. And next thing you know, we're going to be watching the Ryder Cup. So join us next week. We're going to be picking it apart. We're going to find out who was right, who was wrong. Obviously, I was right. Andrew was wrong. But until then, congratulations once again to you and Anna. It is a match. It's a match made, a match made on the golf course, I guess, in many ways, but we won't get into that.
Match made online, I guess you could say.
Well, I wasn't going to go that far. All right, brother. Appreciate you. Happy Ryder Cup.
Yes, happy Ryder Cup. Catch us here next Tuesday, as Bud said, 8 o'clock. That's Sports Podcast Network and Golfer Gang Network. Got to give the shout outs. Love you all. Stay classy.